Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are looking ahead to Gameweek 30. In today's show we're going to be looking at each of the fixtures, looking at potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. If you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, we are trying to do a show every week now until the end of the season, just to wrap it up, and we're going all guns blazing to try and get a higher rank as possible. So hopefully join us, maybe learn something, maybe you'll think, oh god, I'll avoid what these guys are doing, but maybe it'll help in some way. All right, let's kick off and look back at game week 29, which seems a bit of a distant memory. It feels like a while since we've done this, but 29. It was the blank game week. You had a good week.
It was okay, yeah. 67, which I think was decently above average, which was 25. So yeah, big time above average, because obviously I guess the average casual player didn't do anything for this one. But I managed to get 11, but then not really, because Bale didn't even play, idiot, because I even transferred him in. So nightmare there. But so 264k back up to 174k. So the green or the reds from a few weeks ago have been having horrible weeks, have sort of been wiped out again. Which was, I guess, what I planned for with the blank, so that was good. A 90k green overall, which is pretty good. And then Veltman with his sort of cheeky assist and clean sheet of 10 points. Lingard 12, who I also brought in. You sort of convinced me on that one, which was nice. Rafinha with his 8. Antonio 2 assists 7. Kane captain with 14, which was not looking great until he managed to get that penalty and sort of, I don't know, probably maybe not a penalty, a bit of a strange one, but Bamford obviously turned out to be fit and then got injured again with his 11, which is obviously all good. So overall, Kufal, Konsa, Meslier was the better choice than Ariola in the end. And then Bale and Smith Rowe were the blanks, but everyone else sort of did all right. So happy enough.
Yeah, no, I think it worked out really well, and like your planning in the weeks a couple of weeks ago when you were talking about how you felt like you were planning too much ahead, and that was negatively impacting your team at that time. I think it came back in, and like you say, Veltman was the big success, wasn't it?
If I just got for Trossard instead of Bale, it was generally sort of a 50-50 between those two, and shame.
What did I do in the end? I think I captain Kane. I brought in Lingard, and obviously Kane captaincy like pretty much everyone else. I wish in hindsight that I've been talking up, like you say, Lingard on the show before, and I was going to captain him. And West Ham threw that game away. They could have had a few more goals in the first half. 3-0 up to 3-3. If Lingard had kept hold of those 3 bonus, which I think he was on for at some point, it would have been even better. But no, I was happy. Bale was my disappointment, like you, really, because I brought him in the game week before for Salah, and I captained him in that Arsenal game, and he'd been a dud then. So to think that I brought him in really for this blank game week, and again he'd not even featured, it was really disappointing. So it was a bit of a mixed game week. I think I brought Martinez in for Pope as well, and I mean he's solitary 1-pointer this time round, but I feel happy to finally own him now, which feels like I'm one of majority on Martinez. But it was alright. It was 55 points, up from about 550,000 to about 485, 486k. So not bad. I think it's just, you've got your wildcard to play in a couple game weeks time, so we're looking at punts in this show. But should we move on to the preview and talk about Chelsea and West Brom, the first one?
So obviously Chelsea's fixtures turning big time now. They do blank in 33, but West Brom, Crystal Palace, West Ham and Fulham in the next 5, which is obviously very good. And obviously none of those teams are scoring much, apart from maybe West Ham, but you expect them to probably be able to keep a clean sheet there as well. So West Brom, I mean, this isn't the sort of game that they're going to look to try and pick up points, really. They'll obviously try, but you can't really see them scoring much. So it feels like if we're looking at punts, then Chelsea against West Brom at home feels like a really good place to start. And obviously it's the first game of the week, seems quite good. So obviously I'm tempted by someone like Alonso, who obviously seems to play against the teams that have worse defences, where he doesn't have to defend as much. And so he's got that sort of license to roam and go forward and attack. And he feels like a worthwhile punt possibly this week. Obviously, he's a risk for his minutes and stuff, but possibly someone I'm willing to do, because I will still have a decent bench, and I possibly might be benching Lingard as well for him. So
Wow.
Well, maybe not, but maybe I'll bench Kufal or something. But obviously, like, maybe I'll bench one of the City defenders. I don't know, but yeah. So it just feels like a good beat for a Chelsea player, and Aspie as well as the other one who obviously is nailed on. 5.8 million, 6.4% owned. So he's differential as well. And he's had 90 minutes in every game since Gameweek 20. So yeah, and his returns are just really, really good. So 7, 15, 5, 2, 6, 3, 6, 7, 9, 6. So all those clean sheets coming in. Only blank once in 9 weeks. The other blank, he actually still managed a bonus point in a blank. And he got 8 clean sheets, 1 goal scored, 9 bonus points in that time. So yeah, I'd assume he just keeps his place as soon as sort of Thiago Silva's ready to come back. I think he's still nailed on. Assumedly, Christensen would probably lose his place. Maybe Rudiger. We don't really know. Yeah, 5th highest point scoring defender from game week 25 to 29. He's had 2 shots, 6 key passes, 2 big chances created, an XG of 0.97. So yeah, decent. And he's mostly been playing a sort of one of the 3 in a centre back role as well. So yeah, really good for Aspie. And like I said, Alonso as well, Rudiger, all of them. Even Mendy is a decent shout for probably a base 6-pointer quite easily. Yeah, their defense looks great this week. I like it.
Do you favour Alonso just because of the high ceiling? I mean, like you say, Aspie has been really reliable and been good on bonus. Do you not think it just, for safety of start under Tuchel, it makes sense to pick Aspie and just hope he gets some bonus on top of the clean sheet, rather than just a benching? Or
I think if Alonso, I'm sort of still chasing rank, and I want to get as high as possible, and I could sort Alonso out on a wild card in a couple of weeks if I have to. Anyway, right. I can still remove him. So I think Alonso definitely has that ceiling, as you just said, of just huge potential of being able to go huge in this game.
Yeah.
Don't see the defenders managing to stop him, and I just think he's going to get chances. So, yeah, Aspie, it obviously is fine, but you rue the chances that you don't take, and I think Alonso is more of a shout than Aspie this week.
Yeah, I mean,
Aspie on wildcard makes sense.
Yeah, I think I suppose the fact that it's a 1 week punt, Aspilicueta on wildcard, I just feel like with Alonso, even for a 1 week punt, the fact that he's not featured in 3 of the last 4 games in the league for them. It's like it's a bit of a risk on a punt, but then like you say, he could go big. I don't know. If it were me, I'm more boring than you are when it comes to transfers. I'd probably pick Aspilicueta over him, but no, I can understand. He did have a 14-pointer, didn't he, against Burnley at home, which I think is when he came back into the side. So yeah, if he's coming down on sort of lower sides, let's say at home, then he could do it again.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what Tuchel says if he mentions him at all. But yeah, it's not nailed on for me to do that, but I like it as a punt.
And West Brom. Sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say quickly to finish on Chelsea. Werner, I think anyone else from this Chelsea team, Werner and Havertz, like Havertz was playing that false 9 role, has looked pretty good the past few games. But Werner at 9.2 million. He's had 3 big chances the last 4 weeks, 9 shots and 3 big key passes. So those big chances are what I'm looking at. It's just like, he's not scored. He's had no returns since game at 24, but the big chances is what I'm looking at. It's just, he's getting those chances. Can he finally stick it away? I mean, against West Brom, you'd assume he can, but probably assumed that before. But 3 weeks in a row before game week 20, since game week. So wait, no returns since game week 24, and then before that, he had 3 weeks in a row with a returns of 5, 10, and 6, and then since then he's obviously not had any. But not started 2 of the last 6 as well, which is sort of a bit of an issue. But Tuchel tombola in the midfield and up front is definitely real. But I like Werner or Havertz as punts as well this week, and obviously, but you don't know about the rotation, but you think they'd both start. I think they've both been playing all right for Germany as well in the international break. So yeah, there's punt potential big time in Chelsea this week for sure.
I hope Werner turns into a sort of a more secure option next season. I mean, he came in with such big pedigree at the start of this year, and he's really failed to live up to the hype. And when I watch him, I never feel confident that he would score a 1-on-1 or he's a real clinical finisher, which is strange because when I watched him here and there playing in Germany, he looked a lot more assured. So yeah, maybe it'll just take him a bit longer, and hopefully the pre-season he'll settle into Tuchel's lineup. But no, will be hopefully more to come from him. On West Brom, I think you're bang on. I think the clean sheet's looking pretty likely. They've had one goal in their last. Well, they've only scored one goal in their last 4 games, and their away record is not particularly great. I think that's their one goal scored is the joint lowest in the league with Sheffield United. So I think you're pretty assured of the clean sheet there. And player-wise, there's nothing really, as there has been for a lot of the season, too much to get excited. I think at Bartley, their defender, 4.4 million, has sort of shot to the top of their points per game over the last 4 game weeks, but that's mainly because he's been popped up in the box a few times, 3 shots in the box, he scored 1 goal, he's had 2 key passes, 1 big chance created, which isn't bad. But the West Brom's fixtures are pretty rough. They've got 3 tricky looking away games in their next 4 fixtures, and their run to the end of the season's tough. So yeah, I've not really got too many players to sing and dance about in the West Brom team, and I think they're pretty much as good as down, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Should we move on? All right, so we got Leeds against Sheffield United now. We've both got a couple of players featuring in this one. Bamford, Rafinha. I've got Dallas as well, actually. They pulled out the stops. Bamford came back firing again against Fulham after being quiet. He's never gone 4 games in a row without blanking this season. He stopped himself doing it against Fulham. He's obviously got a yellow flag. Do we think, or do we know much about whether that's going to come off or not?
I assume he'll be fine like last time. Okay. He's had way more time to recover than he did last time. So I think it was just a bit of a dead leg knock sort of thing again. Yeah. And yeah, I assume he'll be fine. He's possibly even a captain material, Rafinha, Bamford as well. But both of them could be really good this week for captain, apart from the sort of Chelsea players against West Brom. Sheffield United have looked woeful lately. So, I mean, their new managers has not helped them at all. And, Leeds, when you least rely on them, they turn up again like that Fulham game. And possibly this week they might go under the radar, just because there is attractive fixtures elsewhere for United against Brighton, Spurs against Newcastle, that sort of thing. So, a Rafinha captain, he looks like he's pretty consistent. I don't mind it. So, Rafinha, 16.2% owned, 5.7 million. Second highest scoring mid for the last 5 weeks for mids under 6 million with 27 points. Only Trossard on his recent run scored more. So he passes the eye test, and I think he's going to offer really good value for the rest of the season. Obviously, under 6 million, he's doing well most weeks. 15 shots, 2 big chances, 21 key passes is massive. 5 big chances created as well, and he's had 2 goals. XG of 1.76 and XA of 3.05, which is huge as well. I think he's going to have a massive haul soon. And 21 key passes is 6 ahead of KDB, which KDB is usually the monster for that, and KDB's on 15. KDB's XA of 1.74 compared to Rafinha's of 3.05 is huge as well. So, Rafinha, if he was at City, he'd probably be like 10 million on. So, he could be a really good shout this week. I'm glad I own him because it's big FOMO if I didn't. Leeds look good. Even Dallas, you're expecting a clean sheet. I'm obviously playing Meslier. I completely forgot I had Meslier for a second. So there's should be good points there. To be honest, so triple up with Leeds. Yeah,
Sheffield United, a bit like I say with West Brom, woeful as well, and especially on the road. So in their last 4 games on the road, they've just managed 17 shots, which is by far and away the lowest in the league. The next worst is something like 36, 38, so almost like twice as bad as the next worst team. 4 big chances just created in 4 games, no goals. I think when you accumulate their FPL points in the last 4 away games, right, as like a sort of team collective, they've got 73 as a collective and a team. I think the next lowest is 114. So, I mean, they've just been poop across the park. So, I'd expect a clean sheet. And like you say, they got absolutely tonked by Leicester. And if Leeds have one of those days, they could be 2, 3, maybe even 4 goals in this one. So, there could be cheeky Rafinha or Bamford captaincy shouts this weekend. Maybe even Dallas.
Yeah, and this fixture is obviously a huge reason why I haven't wildcarded out of the blank. Just so I can keep these Leeds players for this game and then wildcard, because obviously after this they've got Man City away, Liverpool at home, and Man United at home in the next 3. So those don't look good on paper. Obviously, Leeds can attack and score against most teams, but I think it's time to at least sell 2 of them, maybe keep Rafinha, and then sell them on the wild card and move on from Leeds.
Definitely. There was no reason why each of those 3 can't get 6 points at least this game week. So you're looking at maybe 18 plus points from those 3, which is great. So yeah, I think it makes sense to hold them. All right. Any more on that one?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Leicester against Man City. One of the big games of the weekend. It's on 5:30 on Saturday evening. Obviously featuring the key man Riyad Mahrez. I think he's the FPL's highest point scorer in the last 4 or 5 game weeks, which for me has sort of come out of nowhere. I know they've had like a double in that time, and Man City have been brushing some teams around, but there was so much sort of emphasis on De Bruyne, Gundu. Obviously, people call him for Sterling, but yeah, it's been Mahrez that's just crept to the top of the overall point standing. I think it's 54 points in his last 7 appearances. One of those were off the bench. 12 shots in the box, 4 goals, 8 key passes, 1 big chance created, 4 assists. Yeah, he's been mega. It's been mega.
I was a sort of possible transfer in. I was looking at KDB, but Mahrez maybe.
Yeah. I think he's joint second for shots in the box over the last sort of 5-6 game weeks, and he's only behind. I think he's behind Kane actually, Rafinha. But yeah, he's been really really impressive, and it seems Pep's trusting him. In the same time, he's sort of phasing Sterling out a little bit because Sterling's been benched and rested, and he wasn't even in a squad. So yeah, no, it's been a surprise to me to see Mahrez come in this season. On Man City
against his old club as well.
Yeah, against his old club as well. Yeah, it could be the platform for him. On Man City, my main benching headaches this week are surrounding them. So I've got 3 players. That's 3 Man City players total. At the moment, I've got Stones and Gundo in my team. I've got Cancelo on the bench. Not too keen on the double City defence because I think Leicester and Iheanacho have been good recently, and City's defensive form hasn't been what it was like in the last 5-6 game weeks. Let's say the 5-6 game weeks before that. I've also got Bale sat first bench, and I can't see anyone from my front 7 to drop. Do you think the way I've got the lineup this week looks right? What do you think about Man City sort of defensive assets this week and Gundo or another City mid? I mean, they've obviously been shit hot recently, but this looks like a trickier fixture.
Are you benching Cancelo because you think Stones is more likely to play? Or?
I do. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
And then Stones has got a goal threat, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's been so much hype about Cancelo this season, but Stones has actually been putting the ball in the back of the net when he plays, and often or not scoring like a double-digit haul recently.
Yeah, if I bring in someone like Alonso, then I imagine one of those would be benched. It's difficult to pick which one, really, because obviously Cancelo has haul potential at any point, but he's rarely actually sort of cashed in on that, has he?
No.
And then, Leicester beat them, 5-2 or something earlier in the season, wasn't it? So, I was looking at Mahrez. I was looking at, not Mahrez, but I was looking at KDB to bring in for Bale, because I've got like 8.7 in the bank now from selling Salah and Sterling last week. Yeah. So it's like, do I bring in KDB, who's looking a lot better recently? He's scoring for Belgium. He's scoring for City recently as well. But then it's Leicester who look like they're going to be tough, and they gave United obviously a spanking last in the FA Cup. So, I think it's possibly only one City actually this week. Maybe as weird as that sounds. I think you've probably got it right. I think and then when you have Bale instead of Gundo, does Bale even start? I mean, who even knows? Exactly. Son's probably going to be back, and Bale not starting the last 2 when even like Lamella was injured as well. You thought he'd be 100% net, or not injured. He was suspended. You think he'd be 100% playing that blank game week, and he didn't even feature at all. It's just kind of shocking. So Bale out of the good books again, possibly, and was keeping him for this week, but I might just get rid of him straight away. So. Who
would you go to?
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, I'm looking at possibly a punter to Havertz or someone like that. Again, but I could pick anyone. Even Salah, I think he was scoring for Egypt. Yeah. And Arsenal just got trounced by, I can't even remember who it was, or scored 3 against West Ham. Scored 3 against them. So you'd think Salah maybe could do well against Arsenal. I don't know.
I mean, you've got Juicy Lingard on the bench. He could easily.
Yeah, I have changed that recently. I've dropped Kufau to the bench. So,
okay.
I might drop Konsa to the bench actually because I think Fulham maybe have better chance to score than Wolves because Wolves attacking has been pretty bad lately. So even though Villa, so their defensive ownership is crazy high, isn't it? So it would hurt me to not get a Konsa clean sheet at least. But yeah, on the Leicester side, there's our boy Ian Atsu, who I mentioned a few weeks ago, and I said he looks like a great punt for a few weeks, and he turned out to be the best punt you could possibly have ever gone for with his hat trick. And 9-9-17 the last 3 weeks. Stat padding versus Sheffield United maybe, but
scored in the FA Cup
score,
too,
obviously.
like you say.
Yeah, true. Didn't he get 2 in that game possibly? So 15 shots, just second of all forwards, and he's played a full game less than other forwards as well. XG of 3.27, which is really high. XA of 1.35, high again. 7 big chances, which is massive. 5 key passes, 2 big chances created as well. So, yeah, the Nigerian R9 is on fire, as everyone calls him. However, does this break in sort of play of him playing each week possibly hamper a bit of form that was sort of coming? Next 2 games obviously don't look great for goals. Man City and West Ham. So I think you probably missed the boat on Ian Atsu. Maybe after the blank in 33, he's got Crystal Palace and then Southampton. So after then, if he's still in the team, I quite like it then. But the next 2, I think not great. Versus Vardy for stats wise, the last 3 weeks he's had shots of 8 versus 6, so he's up on that. Big chances 5 versus 3, an XG of 2.32 versus 137. Big chances created 2 versus 4, key passes 4 versus 5, assists 0 versus 3. So and then goals 4 versus 0. So Ian actually becoming possibly the central striker and Vardy almost the provider here, which is interesting.
Yeah, no, I think he could be a good shout, and he's come into form at a good time of the season where, just to give a bit of competition in that front line, Antonio and Bamford have been good recently. Kane's obviously been good, but he's just sniffing around the edges. He's got a Champions League run in with Leicester to get his shooting boots on for. So he's got something to play for. So that could be a factor worth thinking when you compare him to someone like Bamford, maybe. So he's definitely come into form at a good time. All right, shall we move on? We've got another juicy one. Arsenal against Liverpool, 8 o'clock. So you obviously benched Smith Rowe for this one.
Pretty obvious one. Third bench, but I assume he'll get some minutes. He might even start because he's looked good when he's come on. Arsenal-wise, XG as a team of 7.08, XGC of 6.39, which is completely middle of the ground for both of them. So they're completely mid-table on basically all the stats, and no one's really sticking out. The best one I'm looking at is Lacazette at the moment of 8.2 million, 6% owned, 8, 1, 8 and 11. The last 3 he's actually started. So, Arteta, sort it out, start him because he gets returns when he does. So, 10 shots, 4 big chances, 2 key passes, pretty good. XG of 2.82, XA of 0.43, 3 goals, 1 assist last 4 weeks. So, his stats are good when he starts, and it just makes sense to start him. Their fixtures after Liverpool: Sheffield United, Fulham at home, Everton at home, Newcastle away. Those are 4 good fixtures. The Everton game looks good for goals as well, possibly. So, if he could just start, which it would be, he could be a good asset. But then he gets rotated randomly, and just Arsenal hot and cold all the time. So it's really hard to pick any Arsenal assets. The one player I thought looked really good just from an eye test was Chambers at 4.5 million. He played right back for Bellerin, I guess. 0.0% owned as well. So massive differential. Played really well. Got nearly 2 assists, I think. One of them got poached off him by a touch at the end or something, I think it was. But if he can actually keep his place, he could become an option for that run of 4 really great games. So 4.5 million, 0% owned. Yeah, that sounds great. Sheffield United, Fulham, like it. 31-32. Yes, please. Just keep playing him, Arteta, please.
What do you think about their chances in this one? Do you think Liverpool have been, obviously we know they're in a mixed form at the minute. 3 losses in their last 5. They've had Salah's performed well in the last 5 games. He's had 8 shots in the box, 3 big chances, 6 key passes, 1 big chance created. He only had 1 return in his last... no returns in his last 5 games. just 12 points. He had an expected points of 26. Do you think he and Liverpool are going to turn up for this one or put in a good performance? I feel like from week to week, it's difficult to judge them now. Like they've been so consistent for such a long time, and you knew what you were getting. But Salah's huge price point, Mane's big price point as well, and neither of them are really, really doing the big price point numbers at the moment.
I mean, yeah, Arsenal's conceding 3 to West Ham, not ideal. So you think Liverpool can do well. I think after Arsenal, Liverpool's fixtures are really good, aren't they? So, I'm tempted by a Trent, even though they haven't been keeping clean sheets. But Trent afterwards has obviously got huge potential. Yeah. So, for that fixture run, I think is possibly worth a punt. I quite like Jota. He's obviously come in and done well again. He's obviously really cheap as well. And then I might be tripling up on Liverpool. I know that sounds crazy possibly at the moment, but well, this game in itself is hard to call, so I'm just avoiding it basically.
I mean, the shocker which stood out for me when I was having a look at the numbers was just the sheer lack of goals. So in the last 5 games, just 3 goals. I mean, that's the same as Fulham, Newcastle, Wolves and Villa. Like Newcastle and Fulham, their teams that don't, and even Wolves that don't score very much, and only better than Sheffield United and West Brom. So, I mean, in terms of just basic goals scored, they are really underperforming at the moment. I mean, their XG is 7.2 over the last 5 and only 3. So they're underperforming that by 4 goals perhaps they should have got. But yeah, it's difficult to back any players from them at the moment while those numbers are so low.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just like on wildcard, I'm just thinking it's still Liverpool, and their fixture run is so good that they've got to pick it up, and maybe they'll just tank the season so they don't have to play Europe next week, and that'll probably help them. Yeah. But then it's going to not help them to buy players. So yeah, and they might start losing players. Even Coutinho might come back for cheap because he's only worth 30 million now, so they'll probably go for him.
Wow, they've got some work to do as well to get back into the top 4 proper. I think they're 5 points behind Chelsea, and we all know Chelsea, Leicester, United. The positions above them in good form at the moment, so it's not going to be easy. I mean, you did say their fixtures are pretty good until the end of the season. They got after Arsenal, they got Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, and then away at Man United. I think after Arsenal, Man United away is their only game against sort of like a top 6 team. So they've got the fixtures there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get in top 4 then, to be honest.
But it's the lesser teams they've been fluffing their lines against at home recently. It's not like they've been getting beaten by the big boys.
True.
They've lost at Anfield some really sloppy games. I mean, they lost there against Everton. They've lost against Brighton there, and lose against, was it Burnley they lost there again as well? So yeah, it's not like they're just getting tonked by the big boys. So Fulham as well. Anyway, all right. Anyone else on that one?
Nope, let's move on.
No, all right, so that's the end of the Saturday fixtures. So starting Sunday, we've got the Whopper, Southampton against Burnley. That's 12 o'clock. Kick off on that one. There's been a bit of talk about Danny Ings, isn't there? Maybe Man City. Did you see that?
First I've heard, but yeah, I mean, it sort of makes sense.
It's the sort of utter gossip you get when you hear Aguero's leaving.
Yeah, I think if they don't get anyone other than Haaland, then they're probably doing the transfer market wrong, aren't they? The only other person than Haaland is if they're going to try and get Messi, but which seems crazy. And then Mbappe maybe, but he'd probably be 200 million at this point. Anyway, so Saints side, XGC of 9.53 with 18th overall, which is pretty bad. 12 conceded in the last 4 weeks, which was most of all teams by quite some distance, actually. The only players I really wanted to mention was Adams. 5.8 million, 5.2%. I don't actually believe he's sort of blanked since Ings has got injured again. So he's had 2, 6, 6, and 8 the last 4 weeks. 8 shots, 3 big chances again. That's pretty high. 5 key passes. XG of 1.99. XA of 0.57, and the stats aren't that bad. Next 2 fixtures look good: Burnley, West Brom, and then I think they've just been confirmed for a double in 32 against Spurs. So sounds pretty good. Adams not too bad. Obviously, the Spurs fixtures isn't great, but if their XG as a team is 8.919, which is 6th overall, which is obviously quite good as well. So yeah, Adams. Yeah, if you want to go punty for someone on who's getting a double coming up, which has been confirmed, the next 2 are great as well. possibly another option in that striker area, which on a wild card next week, I think is certainly going to tempt me.
Yeah, I like it, and I think especially considering this game, Burnley's defensive form hasn't been as good as you sort of typically know it to be recently. I think they've conceded 7 goals in their last 5 games, which I think is sort of the 4th worst record overall. 1 clean sheet in that time. I think they've conceded 15 big chances as well. I mean, that's quite big. I mean, Burnley typically, for them, they usually concede in sort of shots of low expected goals from outside the box. They've had conceded 59 shots in the box in the last 5 game weeks. Sorry, and like I say, 15 of those big chances. I think there could be some potential, some goals in this for Southampton, and like you say, Che Adams.
They'll probably clean sheet against Spurs in the double when everyone dribbles on Spurs. That's just stinks for you.
No, that you could definitely
Spurs for you too.
Yeah, man, you can see that happening. No, I've got my is it Lowton? I think I've just got rooted to third bench and just while their clean sheet prospect's not looking good, and we know they're sort of from an attacking point of view they're never very exciting. It's usually one of their defenders who've got the most shots in the box over the last sort of certain game weeks. But I think Burnley is safe. I think they're about 3 or 4 points outside the relegation zone, but I think they've just got enough to get by. But not excited about them to the end of the season now.
Official FPL are touting Vidra as an option, so I don't know. I think you just avoid by his history's sake. Just don't ever buy a Burnley striker. No, just don't do it.
No way. No. All right, let's move swiftly on then. Newcastle against Spurs. Like we mentioned Bale a little bit earlier. I've noticed that you haven't got the armband on Harry Kane this week.
Yeah, Newcastle's home form compared to away form is a lot better. I just don't trust Spurs. I never trust Spurs, and Kane looks like he should have hauled. Well, he hauled it obviously against Palace, was it? I think, and then got the armband last week in the blank against Villa, who haven't been great defensively. Only got a penalty, didn't really have many other chances, and I don't know. Newcastle's got to start picking up points, and Newcastle have been all right recently versus Spurs. I recall some decent results over the last few times they've matched up. So I'm even thinking of selling Bale because I don't even know who's going to start. It's just bought him in for absolutely no reason because he obviously got 0 last week, and it's just a waster. I'm just happy to have Kane. I think there's better captain options honestly this week. So may still go there, but maybe you can give you some stats on Kane. I don't know if you have any. Yeah,
well, I was just mentioning on Bale. I was really keen to keep him and see him through to the end of the season, but I don't know if you saw at the start of the international break.
No.
Yeah, at the start of the international break, he'd said, which I didn't realise, maybe other people did, that he was just using sort of Tottenham as a stopgap sort of season, and his plan is to go back to Real Madrid. And I thought, well, the fact that he's announcing that with like 8 or so games of the season left, how committed is he to finishing the season and not getting injured? Because it's just going to ruin his transfer value. So
Jay-Z's not going to like that.
Not at all. No, maybe that's what came out before the Villa game. Hence why he was benched. Because Jay-Z's like, well, if you don't want to fight for the team, why should I put you in it?
Yeah.
So Bale might, from being a good option after that double, and everyone thinking, oh, Bale's back and the Premier League aren't ready for him again. It seems like he could be, featuring off the bench, if at all, more times till the end of the season. But no, on Kane, you're right. I mean, of all Spurs players, he has looked the most proactive in front of goal in the last 5-6 game weeks. 14 shots in the box is way ahead of Bale, who's had the next best on 6. He's had 38 points in that time, only 2 fewer than Bale. Like you say, he's been consistent, and he was only explosive in that Palace game. But you never know with Kane. If Tottenham do have one of those performances where they put it together, then he could be on for a mega score, and he could have been on for a mega haul in the double game week. He fluffed a lot of chances in that Burnley game. So I feel like although it seems like he's been bobbing along with like 6 to 8 points, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets another double digit. And I think we're expecting Son to be back, aren't we, for this Newcastle game? And I think that'll make all the difference.
So,
yeah. So with him on the road, Son back on the road, it could be, I don't know, a couple goals in that one for Spurs. You're not so sure.
You're slightly convincing me.
Well, I mean they've won. I mean I wasn't.
He looked.
Yeah.
He looked good for England as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, that nice goal. And I've had a few other chances against, why am I forgetting their name? Albania? Albania.
Yeah.
That was it. Albania probably slightly better than Newcastle, maybe. Newcastle. Kane,
Like well, I know he had four returns in one game, but he's had 6 returns in his last 5 games, which is pretty good. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Bruno's returned in like his last 4 or 5 games, or maybe one goal in the Man City away game, so 1 return in 4. So I suppose comparatively speaking, form to form, Kane is performing slightly better at the moment.
True. And obviously Brighton are probably better than Newcastle.
Yeah.
Well, definitely are, to be honest. But yeah, Newcastle side, XG of 5.41, which is 16th, but they've not had, obviously, Wilson, St. Maximin. They haven't had Almira on for a few games as well, so yeah, not good there, which is dead. Not dead last, actually, what I put down here, which is kind of surprising. And an XGC of 7.95 of only 8 conceded, which is I think is mid-table-ish, actually, which wasn't too bad either. So, Wilson and St. Maximin both actually back in training now and are due back after the internationals. So that could be another sort of point for Newcastle in this one. They're going to get their first choice front three back. So they're going to be stronger for the run-in than they have been pretty much all season with their injuries. So, if the time is now for Newcastle, if they've got everyone back, they need to start picking up points. So I think it's a case of not underestimating them in this fixture with obviously those two coming back. The defence is just basically all their injuries is getting better. So, I just think they could do okay. I see Wilson possibly starting, scoring. St. Maximin giving Aurier the run around. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Spurs.
Okay. Well, I hope it is, because I'm feeling confident about Kane captain. But I can understand your reasoning. They are fighting just as much as Spurs are to stay in the league. And just as much as Spurs are fighting to get in top 4. Is what I mean.
Imagine they would.
Yeah, battling at the bottom. But I don't know. I just feel like that the woeful performance against Brighton is difficult to shake that off. I know they'll be back at home, but they didn't do themselves any favours there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
All right. Sunday afternoon, the 4:30 game. It's the team. To me, feels like every time we do the show, they're like, I think they're 1 game away from getting out the bottom 3, and that's Fulham, because they look, for all intents and purposes, better than Newcastle, but they've only won once in their last 5 games, 1 draw, 3 losses in the last 4. Maybe this will be the week that they do it up against a Villa side. Who do we expect them to get Grealish back anytime soon?
He's back in training now, so I think he is supposed to play. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right, well, I'm pleased about that. I mean, on the Fulham front, in terms of total points in the last sort of 6 game weeks, it's Anderson who's leading the way, 30 points there. He's had a goal. He's had 5 shots in the box, so he's been performing quite well for Fulham from the back. And I think now, like we talk about as we get towards the end of the season, which is working out what teams have got to play for, and they know they've just got to get maybe 1 or 2 wins from these last 8 games to get ahead of Newcastle. And it's games like Villa. I'm trying to see which other ones they've got. They've got Aston Villa away, looks like a fairly winnable game. Burnley at home, Southampton away. Newcastle, obviously, they play at home the last day of the season, so they'll be hoping to win that Newcastle game and one other. And in terms of winnable fixtures, I think this Villa game could be won. I feel like they've got a good chance.
I see this being quite boring, honestly.
Okay.
I think it could be a low scoring, sort of possibly a 0-0, while one of them's going to win it 1-0. It could be Fulham. Grealish back, I mean, definitely helps them a lot. But I just feel like Fulham have looked good defensively. Yeah. Villa haven't looked good offensively. Obviously, let's see what Grealish is like, obviously. But Watkins has obviously scored for England on his debut, which is obviously going to give him some confidence. But he's hit the woodwork in the Premier League like so many times this season. Possibly newcomer of the year, I guess, maybe. Yeah. He's been pretty damn good. So, but he's not actually scored for Villa in 7 weeks since Gameweek 23, and he's actually only had 2 assists in that time for Watkins. And obviously last week I said he's becoming more of the provider, considering Grealish hasn't been there, but maybe he can get back in the box itself with Grealish back. But I think Fulham could do okay here, and it just looks like a bit of a squib of a game, I think. So yeah, I'm wavering on the Consa start, wavering on a Consa sell for that Chelsea defender. So I think it's a awkward one to call.
Yeah, no,
especially from FPL wise. I think you have Martinez and you're just not worrying, but other players in this game I think is an issue.
Yeah, I mean Fulham have been quite tight at the back as well. I think they've had 4 clean sheets in the last 6 games, so I mean they know how to stop teams. I mean they kept Liverpool out, and maybe if it's Grealish's first game back, maybe he won't play the full 90. Maybe he'd take a while to get back up to match sharpness. So I don't know if he'll make an instant impact, but like you say, it could be a low scoring one, this one.
I even shouted out Anderson a few weeks back, didn't I? When there was no one to really mention about Fulham, I shouted him out, and I didn't expect him to go and score, and he did. So yeah, well done to him.
Yeah, no.
Wish we were playing Cubs still. I probably would have picked a few of these players, especially Ian Acho last week.
Oh, yeah, you definitely would have. Would have picked him for multiple weeks. All right, maybe look to bring that back before the end of the season. All right, let's move on. Last game on Sunday, Man United against home to Brighton. Obviously, we've just sort of spoken about Fernandes in passing, but have you got any numbers on what he's been up to recently? Because he's definitely been.
I haven't written anything down with him, honestly, but he's not done much for Portugal in the break. He's played 2 of their games. I think he's suspended for the 3rd, which is obviously good. So he's actually going to get a full rest for once. Because most games he seems to play at least half of the games or come on for United and stuff. So a full rest for Bruno is only going to be good for him. And Brighton historically pretty bad, but they've been pretty good on both sides of the ball this season. The one player I do actually have down is Maguire. 5.5 million, 5.3%. He's been a monster at the back lately. I think the last few games. He's looked really, really good. Other than the Leicester game, of course, in the Premier League, he's looked really good. And only conceded once since week 25, which is really good. Yeah. 5, 8, 5, and 8.
Wow.
Clearly, he loves a yellow card, but when he gets a clean sheet and no yellow card, there's 2 bonus. Those 8 pointers both times. So if there's a clean sheet coming, he looks pretty good for bonus as well. So probably not the value pick compared to someone like Shaw, but he's obviously a bit more of a differential, only 5.3% owned. And he's always a threat at set pieces, and he's never going to get rotated. So 3 shots, 2 key passes, an XG of 0.22, an XA of 0.16. So I think that's not the worst shout. You've got Brighton, Spurs, Burnley, Leeds, Liverpool next 5. 3 of those look good. Maybe even the Tottenham game could be a clean sheet as well because they defend hard in top games, don't they? So don't mind Maguire or Shaw, someone like that. So then Rashford, is he still injured? Who knows if he plays this one? Bruno is obviously Bruno still, and then is there any value in Martial or Cavani? Probably not, right at this point. So there isn't too much to talk about. We know Bruno and Maguire, Shaw seem like good options still, and then other than that, that's basically it there right now.
It's funny because I haven't obviously looked at what you've been looking up, but one of the things I was going to mention is how good Brighton have been on the road in front of goal, because they've been a bit of a stop plug, I suppose, at home. But 6 goals in the last 4 away games. That's sort of like up there with that 4th best total of teams in the league, and it's been a consistent theme with them that they've underperformed both the number of goals they should be scoring, and they've underperformed the number of clean sheets they've been getting, and maybe that Newcastle game was sort of a glimpse into what they should be doing. And as we've said, they've got something to play for. I kind of feel like this is going to be another low-scoring game on Sunday. I really think it could be maybe a 1-0 either side. I think it'll be a close game, and I think Brighton gave United a really tough game at the start of the season. They were lucky to win, and also lucky that Brighton didn't take more chances. They hit the post an unbelievable amount of times in that match. So
that's true. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a really tight game separated by a goal. I think it would be a difficult one to captain any United player in.
Even though I do have it on Bruno, I don't actually think I'm going to leave it on him at the moment. The captaincy, I think I'm leaning towards Rafinha.
Really?
So, yeah,
like it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like Rafinha a lot. At the moment, I've got it just because I love him at the minute. I've got Lingard vice captaincy if Kane doesn't come in. I think Lingard away at Wolves is not a bad shout. All right, let's segue into Monday night. We've got Everton at home hosting Crystal Palace. Calvert-Lewin, I think, scored last time out, didn't he? Or the time before the blank?
I believe he did, and he's obviously scored for England as well. I would love to own Calvert-Lewin this week, honestly. I mean, he's at, 35.8% owned, but I assume that is about a lot of dead teams. I expect his sort of effective ownership to be around the 20%, I guess. But Crystal Palace, Brighton, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Villa are the next 5 for Everton, which is okay. XG of 6.51 with 5 scored as a team. XGC of 8.34 which is 15th overall, but actually only 4 conceded. So getting better on that side of defensively. Calvert-Lewin, first return since Gameweek 25 last week. Love the fixture run for him, especially going forward, sort of for attacking returns, obviously. He obviously doesn't blank in 33 either, and there's a double to be confirmed at some point for Everton. And scoring for England, and I think this is a great fixture for him. Palace at home. 9 shots, 5 big chances, 2 key passes, 0 big chances created. XG of 2.07, XE of 0.35. So I think he's getting back to his sort of best, kind of like he was at the start of the season. 5 big chances is obviously very encouraging as well. I just fancy him to perform till the end of the season. I think their fixture run-in is quite good as well. So Calvert-Lewin on the wild card looks interesting as well. So, and obviously he's up there for golden boot possibly this year as well. He's got that to try and get, and he's got the motivation to be nailed on that England squad for the Euros as well. So he's got motivation, and I just like DCL as a player. I like to watch him. That poacher is fun to watch. So I think he's going to do well.
He just needs to get ahead of Richarlison a little bit. We know Richarlison's a little bit selfish, but if he can, like you say, get the ball off him more often and get more service, I think he could have a really good end of the season. And like you say, he's fighting for that England spot or backup spot to Kane, you'd say. So I think he's got a 100%. Lot to play for personally, and I think his Palace game's a really good one for him to add to his season tally. I mean, they've been quite poor away from home in terms of goals conceded. They've averaged 2.3 across their last 4 games, which is the 3rd worst record in the league. So they haven't been tight. Obviously that number is sort of greatly increased by the Spurs tonking they got, but generally speaking, Palace haven't been up to their usual defensive standards on the road. So I think there'll be some good chances in this one for him, and there's really not many sort of Palace players on the attacking or defensive side that I'd want to recommend. Just on Everton, do you know what's gone on with James Rodriguez, or do we know anything about why he's always left out? I mean, I was having a look at his numbers while I was his numbers from minutes played this season, and it seems he'll play like three games in a row, blank. He'll miss like the next 4, come back in. He's been really stop-start.
I haven't heard much, to be honest. Look out for the press conference. Obviously, he's not really a pick for FPL, but just a shame to not see him playing consistency, really, because at the start of the season they were so good with him, weren't they? So, no,
it's a strange one. Sigurdsson's sort of taken on the mantle in recent weeks. I was sort of eyeing him up as a potential differential for Everton with their season fix. I think he's had 3 returns in his last 4 starts, and he's looked tidy. But definitely.
I'd say don't go there.
No, he's probably a bit expensive, unfortunately. But he's done okay. All right, on to the last game of the game week. We've got Wolves hosting West Ham. West Ham, who is still amazingly pushing for top 4. 2 points behind Chelsea coming into this one. I've got triple West Ham playing this week with Kufal, Lingard and Antonio. And I just don't see anything wrong with it. They've got three juicy looking players. I wish I had Cresswell instead of Kufal. But the boys are good this season. The boys are really good.
Yeah, I agree. I will probably end up playing Kufal because I think I'm going to miss out on points if I don't. But it's just there is benching dilemmas this week, isn't there? So
absolutely.
Yeah, benching City at any point just seems weird, doesn't it? But Wolves have not been good going forward. No. I mean, their XG as a team, is 5.04 with only 3 scored and 17th of all teams. So Wolves of old, when they had Jimenez and Jota are firing every week, then they would have been way up there. But at the moment, 17th. William Jose come in has done absolutely nothing. I don't think he's even got an assist yet, as far as I know. So, shocking. Player-wise, Neto, I think 5.7 million, 6.8%. I'm expecting his ownership to kind of rocket over the next few weeks because their fixtures after West Ham, Fulham, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Brom, 4 in a row. Amazing. So yeah, if Neto has passed the eye test, 1 assist since game week 24 is obviously not good, but he really is probably their best option at the moment without Jimenez, especially going forward. So if you want to take that gamble on someone for that absolutely amazing fixture run, 12 shots, 1 big chance, 8 key passes, 2 big chances created, which is decent for the assist side at least. XG of just over 1 and an XA of 1.2. So yeah, he's not setting the sort of world alight, but he is their best option for sure. Traore just doesn't seem to do anything good FPL wise. Jose's not William Jose's not proved himself yet either, but I mean the next 4 after West Ham, the defence is possibly where the numbers are going to be good. Cody, Bolly, Seiss could all be good for that run. Even a double up could be the differential that could help you a lot to go up the ranks, because you think there's going to be a few clean sheets there, but their XGC is 9.91, which of 19th overall with 6 conceded. So but they've had some harder fixtures, and we know Wolves have been solid historically. I think those fixtures look so good for clean sheets that they should get at least a few. Cody's getting forward as well, obviously, lately, so maybe Cody is the safe pick there. Yeah, I think 1, maybe 2 on a wild card Wolves players seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to... I mean, do you think they've got enough to play for towards now and the end of the season? Just finish strongly? Like, what's their goal? They're just like
maybe just to prove that they're not crap, possibly, because they were so good last year, and they just these injuries are just like without one player basically. Or obviously Jota and Doherty have gone as well, but without their main guy in Jimenez, they've basically just fallen apart this year.
Yeah, I mean,
so possibly just prove themselves. I don't know.
They're lower than Palace now in the table, which is a bit of a surprise to me in terms of, you would look at Wolves' squad, like you said, the past couple of seasons, you think they're pretty well stacked out, like man for man. You'd think they've got a better squad than Palace, and they're behind newcomers Leeds. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting end to the season for them. Like you say, maybe they just want to have a good end to the season to prove themselves.
I think a week ago they were only like 3 points above like someone like Newcastle or something. I was just thinking, blimey, they're close to being involved in relegation here.
Yeah, no, they're on 35 points. Newcastle on 32. So yeah, no, they're not far. They've only won once in the last 5, lost 2 in the last 5. They've not been great this season.
No.
On West Ham side, it's obviously Lingard has been the talk of the town for quite a few weeks now, because I mean he's just been racking up the points. He's had 56. In sort of 7 appearances, and I think the next best sort of point scorer in West Ham side is Cresswell with 48, but he's taken 10 game weeks to do that. So yeah, Lingard has been putting up some insane numbers. I mean, even he's still getting outperformed actually in front of goal by Antonio. So Lingard's had 13 shots in the box to Antonio's 19. 21 shots to Antonio's 23, and a slightly lower XG of 3.2 to Antonio's 4.3. So that's across sort of last 6-7 game weeks. So Antonio's definitely still up there numbers wise, but Lingard's just been more clinical, and perhaps that trend will continue to the season. I feel like if you don't own Lingard now, yeah, it's a really good idea to get him in. I mean, West Ham have got things to play for in terms of getting to the Champions League or Europa League. Lingard's got a goal because he got back into the England team. I mean, I don't think he played that well against San Marino.
I thought he played all right.
Yeah.
I thought he played all right.
Well, I mean...
He looked lively.
Yeah.
I think he got an assist as well.
Yeah, but then, like, I don't know. San Marino aren't great. And he
obviously, yeah.
And he didn't look shit hot. But anyway. But it's undeniable how well he's been playing for West Ham. So, yeah, he's got things to play for. I'm really happy to own him, and he just looks like he's enjoying his football, and when someone's doing that, you can't hate them when they get goals and assists, and especially when they're in your FPL team. So yeah, long may it continue. What do you think about sticking with the triple West Ham? Do you see any issues with that? I mean, they're all quite nice prices, aren't they?
Not for now, at least. I think it's fine.
Okay.
I mean, the fixture...
I think the fixtures are okay. The fixtures are okay?
Yeah, Leicester and Chelsea, you can probably bench Kufal at least.
Yeah.
Maybe even Lingard. If you must, but then they got Newcastle, Burnley, and then the last 3 fixtures are really good, aren't they? Everton, Brighton, West Brom, Southampton for the last 4 actually. So yeah, last 4 triple up might be on again. I think you could possibly sell one if you need to. I think that
maybe Kufal.
Yeah. Other than that, I think Lingard, Antonio look fine. Antonio could maybe go because he's not scoring that much at the moment. He's still getting points, obviously, with his assists, but yeah, he's not scored in 3 weeks. So he's had chances as well. He missed that absolute sitter to win that game against Arsenal. So I can't believe he missed that, because that would have been a mega haul from him, and he must have been so disappointed. But shocking.
You were more disappointed.
Yeah, all the FPL owners more disappointed.
I mean, the longer I've looked at it, or looked at my team up on screen this show, I've kind of look at Kufal and think, West Ham have only had 1 clean sheet in 5. He's not getting many assists compared to Cresswell. It's probably a bit silly of me to be having him play over Cancelo, who, if he does play, has probably got a greater chance of a clean sheet. Or no, you shake your head at that?
I mean, it's Leicester versus Wolves.
True.
Who's going to score more? Like West Ham, obviously, yes, only 1 clean sheet, but you think no, it's
Man
hard
City
to back against City, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
That's a difficult one. I'll leave that. I'll let that one run to the wire, and maybe I'll just play Lowton and bury my head in the sand.
Who did Burnley have again?
Southampton
bad,
away.
Fixture. Yeah.
Against Big Che Adams.
Yeah.
All right. Have you got any more to add on that Wolves West Ham game?
No, I covered my side of the Wolves players. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, the only thing we didn't do at the start of the show, which we'll probably do now, is just the manager of the week. So sorry if we kept you waiting on that one.
Let me scroll back up.
Okay.
So Miharabi FC Ahmed Hassan got 80 points. He played his free hit,
Nice.
19k up to 6k. So yeah, in the mix there, big time. So yeah, free hit. Laurie 6 points, Veltman 10, Dunk 6, Trossard 14, Rafinha 8, Antonio 7, Captain Kane of 14, Bamford 11, and he also had Lingard on his bench of 12. So
Nice.
pretty good. He obviously had pretty much all of the big hitters there, apart from obviously not missing out on Lingard's points. But yeah, good on him.
Yeah,
Good use of the free hit. 80 points is huge.
Like it. I know we probably also just want to mention Ratai Loma, who was top of our FPL Cougars mini league for God knows how long, and he was also number 1 in the world. But he's actually slipped the last two game weeks. He slipped from 1st to 7th. So yeah, I know. Paul, he's letting the team down.
I think he's got a wild card in hand.
Oh, has he?
I think he's possibly hitting it in 31 as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, I was having a look at his team, minus 8-point hit for the blank, and scored 44 points. So that wasn't like a great return. So that's probably why he slipped down. But no, we'll keep abreast of what he's doing between now and the end of the season, because it'd be nice to see someone who's top of our mini league and also not in many mini leagues, if he can go on to win the thing, which would be cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Any other business?
No, we're done for now.
Before we wrap up. All right, cool. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. Obviously, the game week starts Saturday morning, so get your captaincies, get your transfers all sorted before then. We'll be back sometime next week to preview game week 32, and blimey, the season feels like it's coming to a close.
31.
Sorry, 31.
Yeah.
In April, Kieran. We're going to be in April next time we record. Unbelievable.
Yep.
All right, have a good Easter, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye-bye.